Hey everybody, welcome to Cleaning and Cocktails. And you know the show, right? Where I bring on guests, I bring on people from the cleaning community, people that are business professionals in the cleaning community, suppliers, manufacturers, software people, everybody and anybody that helps our industry grow, scale, and be a better industry. So today I have the pleasure of bringing on Corina Burton out of Phoenix, Arizona. I'm going to let her tell her story, get into it. You guys, I found this woman on LinkedIn. I saw her sharing her story. I saw her talking about her brand. She's got a lot of things that she's working on. She's in a specific space in the cleaning industry, which we were talking about earlier, that again, yes, it falls under cleaning, but post-construction cleaning or construction cleaning is a beast within itself. This girl's managed to master this and has a great thing going in Phoenix. I think other states too, right? Four or five
so we're in a total of 6 now.
6 states. Awesome. Mm-hmm. Well, enough of me doing an intro. Again, you guys, welcome to the show. Let's give Corina the time to really share her story and tell us who is Corina and how the hell did you get into construction cleaning, let alone cleaning?
Well, thank you so much, Ricardo, for having me on here. It's always exciting and fun to, talk to other people in the industry and also people who are in the same, realm of the industries and, chit chat about what you're seeing and what we're seeing and how things work and what things don't work. Right. So thank you for having me on here. So how I started CPR Construction Cleaning. It's funny actually that that was the very first question that you asked, just because I literally made a post today on LinkedIn. We're about to celebrate our 2-year anniversary in August 28th, actually, which is funny because that's actually a personal, and I didn't even correlate the two, but that's a personal anniversary for myself and someone really special. So I was like, wow, that was meant to be. But
it's a good day. It's a good day.
Yes, it's a big day. Yes, definitely. So my background, was essentially being a mother. For the first 10 years of my 20s, I was a stay-at-home mom of 3 daughters, and I didn't have my college education. I had a year, maybe 2 years under my belt. And then, working in high school, that was pretty much my work experience. I didn't have anything outside of that. And my soul was hungry for it. I wanted to be able to develop that part of me that had been shut down for such a long time. And, that's the one thing that I truly advocate. I love being a mother. I'm now a mother of 4 daughters. So, obviously they're a huge part of my life, and they've really been like the pivoting factor of who I am today, ultimately. But at the same time, as a woman, you still have your own self-identity, just like a man. A man, is a father, but he has his own self-identity, and women do too. And it is 100% okay. And women should feel empowered to want to develop ourselves during that time of still being a mother. It's still, kind of a juggle because you're managing both, but it's still possible. And, at that time though, I didn't have the support and I didn't have that. So I just felt like I was slowly like dying inside. My spirit was dying. My fire was dying. And when I made the decision to essentially change my life entirely, of making a decision, and I ended up walking away with nothing. I had no money. I really had zero family support. My friends left me. But I really felt very strongly that I needed to have this experience because, and this really does lead into my business today, because from a small, probably, I would say 8, 9, 10, I always knew that I wanted to do something in a way to give back to my community. I knew I wanted to do good. I knew that I wanted to try and use my voice, even though I had no idea what that meant and how I was going to utilize that. Like, what did I have to say, or how could I help people, and how can I help empower people or make people feel special? But I think because I had gone through such a hard time as a child, I had, a lot of kids make fun of me, and I didn't do well in school, and I was teased so much that I wanted to be able to help other people to never feel the sadness that I felt. And so I had this little fire burning inside of me, and I had it throughout my 20s. And when I, went off on my own with my children, I, kept that fire burning, and I just didn't fully understand it because it wasn't the time for me to really see and understand what that was and what that looked like. And so, I had a couple of, business partner ventures that didn't work out, and it wasn't just a, separate, we're done, we're over. It was very much, where I made the decision, knowing and recognizing that my worth wasn't being appreciated, and
you weren't at full potential.
Financially, I wasn't being compensated for what I was doing and what I was bringing to the business, to the point where when I made the decision to leave the partnership, both times I actually had to walk away from a large sum of money. The second time it happened to me was even more of a significant loss of financial means for me and my family. And so that was really devastating for me. And, throughout that time, I was really building my career in business development and sales. And I had learned how to sell in a very authentic and genuine way where my clients trusted me. So it didn't matter if I was selling restoration. My background is predominantly in restoration services, which is fire, flood, mold, those types of things.
I want to get to that too. So keep it going.
Okay. And, and then I was also in janitorial for about a year. And then I was working for a company that specialized in commercial carpet cleaning and floor care services. It didn't matter what I was selling. My clients, if they worked in the same space, because I worked a lot with property managers, every single one of them knew and trusted me that they would give me an opportunity, right? They would say, okay, yes, I'm going to give you the RFP, bid on this carpet or janitorial. And anytime that they would have a flood or a fire or anything, they would always contact me. And that was really based off of building these authentic relationships of trust. They knew that I was who I said I was, and I always delivered every time, regardless of who I worked for. So, I had realized that I had built a foundation of trust in the industry. And so when, I had the second entrepreneurial breakup, as I like to call it.
That's a good one.
So this was actually in 2019. I was devastated.
So this is this is recent. These are recent.
It was very recent. And, not very, it was still recent. And I really got to a point, I'm thinking this is 8 years into my journey of changing my entire life and really building my life and my family and providing for my family. And, to have that blow after feeling like I was finally kind of feeling that weight lifted off my shoulders, my life was changing, and I was able to have, different financial opportunities. And to have this happen to me, especially when you start with literally no money, it was extremely devastating. And I had been through a lot to that point, and I thought, this is what's gonna literally ruin me. I can't even believe it. I've been through so much shit, and here I am at the bottom of the barrel. And I was definitely suffering from depression. I was going through this autopilot phase where I was just kind of I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with my life. And I'm a failure, and everything I did was for nothing. I'm such a loser. Everybody was right. Everyone who doubted me was right. And, I had my pity party for a minute.
But we can have pity parties for just for ourselves.
It's a natural thing. It's a natural thing. I'm not upset with myself for going through those emotions. I'm proud of myself that I was able to have this realization that I needed to step away from the partnership that I was in, regardless of the loss. And I was able to get another job. Literally within a day of making the decision, I was done. I went and interviewed. They hired me. They paid me what I was asking. And I was just like, okay, here I am back doing business development. I'm thinking, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And I really wanted to elevate, and I didn't feel like I was doing what I was meant to be doing. So, at this point though, I wasn't thinking construction cleaning. And I definitely knew, for me, my personal desires, I couldn't do janitorial. It was definitely hard when I did 1 year of being in commercial janitorial. It was harder for me because I love to make people happy. Yeah. And in janitorial, I mean, people can lose their lid off of if you forget one small thing, like boom. It's like a catastrophe.
It's tough. It's tougher to connect with the client in janitorial because you're like one of many vendors, and it's a long contract, and it's just the need for them to try to get to know you. I don't think it's not hungry for them. Where construction, I think what you're going to relate to too is these PM superintendents. I mean, you guys are. There's a lot of times that you touch as far as contact, follow up. Did we do a great job? Like, you get to know those PMs. I know I have with the people that we work with in Chicago. Yeah. I have them on text. We shoot text messages. Like, I don't have that with my janitorial contracts. Yeah. I just don't.
So, for my experience, it was really if the tenant of the property manager, if the tenant calls complaining, then the property manager is like, I'm going to lose my mind because, they're dealing with, if it's a big space, they're dealing with several tenants who are complaining and upset about something else, and they're not doing this right. And so they're just like, I don't want to have zero complaints. So if you have one person saying, you didn't take the trash out of my office, I'm livid, you guys are the worst, and they, essentially like rip them apart, they're going to call you, and there's just no mercy.
No mercy.
Whatsoever. No. You completely forget about all the other good days that you've done. And it's usually because somebody came in upset. Maybe they had a bad day. Maybe things aren't going well for them. So for me, like, janitorial was emotionally just like too much because I'm very much an empath. But my business partner, he's not as much. He's very analytical. He's been in the janitorial space for about 17 years of his career. And, so for me, I was like, I'm too emotional. Like, I can't do that. I'd be upset all the time. So, that was just not something that I ever thought of. Like, that was not one of my business plans. But, leading into this, I, left my partnership. I got this new job. And, one day I went to lunch, who is now my business partner. We went to lunch together, and, I had a couple of friends, old clients that were in the, GC world. And they had asked me, does your company do construction cleaning? And I'm like, no, we focus on, carpet cleaning and, floor care service. And so then I just kind of like started thinking about it. And then I started asking questions like, well, why are you asking me? Like, is there a need? And for whatever reason, like, I just decided to like ask a lot of questions. And then I started to ask more questions with some of the other, project managers that I had relationships with. And they were letting me know that they struggle with that service. They not only have to manage the project of them cleaning it, but they never had a sufficient amount of cleaners, and that their expectations of a clean was really essentially at, 80% at best of quality of clean. Okay. And so it kind of, started getting my mind wheels turning, and I'm like, I feel like this would literally hit so many areas of what I'm really passionate about, being a problem solver, being able to come into the industry and disrupt it, and to say, hey, let's not accept mediocre as our quality. Like, let's accept high quality, and everyone else needs to raise to the bar and have these expectations. And so, when I presented this idea to my business partner now, he was like, literally instantly was like, yes, this is it. We both got
let's make a website. Let's make a website tomorrow. Let's go.
Well, actually, the truth is, yes, he went home. He did everything. He filed for a business. We called, to get our insurance and, to get a quote and all that stuff and to see what that's like. But here we are. We're still both working our full-time jobs. I was literally, at a point where financially I could not afford to invest in anything. Mm-hmm. And we just so happened, though, to have enough supplies, and we had enough opportunity to say, to kind of put it out there. And so I contacted some of my my connections, and I said, hey, just so you know, I started a construction cleaning company. And I explained to them like why we started it and who we are and, what we're going to do and, what they would be expecting versus using someone else who is typically a janitorial company or a mom and pop kind of, cleaning business. And, they're going to be having a high grade quality of clean. Well, then very next day after having these phone calls, I received a text from one of my contacts, and they said, I actually have a bid walk for you we went downtown Phoenix where we started our business. It was a WeWork project downtown Phoenix.
Cool.
And the actual bid proposal itself, for us, we were like, holy crap, like this is actually quite substantial for us.
This is complex.
And this is our very first one. Yeah. And we walked it, we did our thing. We did a very nice formal bid proposal, and within like 4 days, we were awarded the project, and we were both like, oh my gosh, here we are.
Here you go. Boom.
Basically just kind of, were thrown into this without realizing how quickly we thought, oh yeah, we'll do this kind of like as a side thing and eventually it'll grow.
Yeah.
But it didn't work that way, which is obviously I'm extremely grateful for. I had to put a lot of work. So did my business partner, because, for 4 months we're working full time with our job. And then every night I remember coming home and I would be in my office from 6 p.m. till 9 p.m. And I would tell my kids, I have 4 kids and my husband, and I'm like, look, this is something like we're sitting on something that is going to make magic. And I am confident. Yeah. And so
like, give me a little bit of time. Give me a little bit of time.
Right now, it's like, I know right now it's going to feel like forever, but when we look back, you're going to say like 4 months, 5 months is not even a long time to be able to create something that is so much bigger than essentially your wildest dreams, right? Like if someone was to tell me 2 years ago or even last year to see where we are today, well, I think last year I would definitely be like, yeah, we're going to be there for sure, because I've already seen how much we had grown during a pandemic. And, I would have been like, seriously, like, is this really going to happen? Because
I mean, Corina, I got to tell you, I didn't know that it's only been 2 years. So, I mean, I guess like kudos and congrats on that. But I just wanted to take a second and thank you for, you really took us on a journey right there, right? Like you took us from, right out of high school, you took us to where you were having your kids, running into issues. I feel like people need to hear that more often, right? It's because entrepreneurship and making the decision that you just did 2 years ago, where you've got a full-time job, you've got job security. It's risky, it's scary to say, I'm going to leave security and I'm going to take a risk on this. Why? Because I'm confident it's going to work. I mean, your kids don't know that, your friends, your family, your husband. But I feel like, look at, not that everybody always comes out on top or reaches the success that you're reaching, but you had to make that decision and you took us through that. And I hope everybody appreciates that, because those are tough, deep decisions. It takes a mindset. You've proven that it's a shift in mindset that you have to reach the goals and the milestones that you set for yourself. So I just had to stop you there for a second and thank you, because that's the shit, man. That is what people got to hear. I hear it. I literally yesterday, 2 Facebook groups posted me, Rick, I'm working full time. It's been, almost 8 months. This thing's a side hustle for me. I don't know if I want to take the risk. Like, people should be listening to this. Like, you with 4 kids, you took the risk. So okay.
And also I was literally at a point where, and I don't try to like emphasize it to be like there's zero arrogance. It's that I do as well. Like you were mentioning that you receive people, saying like, how can I? And I just have to say, I literally had no money. There was at one point, and take it for what it's worth, but in this journey, that relationship that I had in my previous business partnership and our contract and everything that was stipulated of what it was supposed to be didn't turn out that way. I literally got to a point where I was about to lose my house, about to lose my vehicle. I had $15 one day in my bank account, no savings, nothing. Everything that I had invested into that business was drained. It was gone. So for anyone to say like, I'm scared, I'm like, I understand. When you have a family of 6 to feed and you have $15 in your bank account and you're like counting the day, like the 2 days before, you're about to get your paycheck. Like, I get it, but I still did not give up the dream because my intuition was telling me, don't give up. This too shall pass. Like, I literally felt that in my brain, but I had all these experiences telling me, like, look at all this shit that's happened to you. Like, why are you going to listen to your intuition? Why are you going to listen to your gut feeling? Because look at what has happened to you in the past. But I didn't. I shut that out and said, just because that stuff happened to me doesn't mean that I'm not meant for this journey. I have to have faith. I have to have trust. And I have to know that this is all going to work out. And I literally like look back and I'm like, holy shit. Like, if I wouldn't have listened to my intuition during that time, I would not be where I am today. I would still be doing something that I would not be happy doing and still be wondering, where would I be today if I would have made that decision? If I would have had that faith and that trust of knowing that there was a bigger plan for me. There is a purpose and there is a reason why we go through what we go through, and how it totally changes and impacts our life for the better, because it develops our characteristics, it develops our skill set, it develops our depth. And even as a business owner, being able to translate all of that, how we care, who we are, our why, it really was, I was able to take that, captivate it, and help other people see, so that, if I'm not someone who I don't have these unique talents. I mean, we all have unique talents, but you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't have this like gift to be this like strong person. I just shared, I had a pity party. I cried. I struggled through depression, and these are all normal things. But the only thing that made me different was that I changed my mindset. I put one foot in front of the other, and every single day I would do something to change my future. Yep. And anybody can do that. If I can do it, anyone can.
Think about Corina. You were in control of your life, right? Nobody else controlled it for you at these pivotal points. I mean, there's one thing that I'm like, damn, I wish I did this. But like, think about if you had do you write a journal? Do you write things down a lot? Yeah. So like, think about if you wrote all those, because I think this would be helpful for just people in general, right? Is especially entrepreneurs trying to do this, trying to do what we're doing, is at those pivotal points, like, what were you feeling emotionally, right? Like, what did put you to say, I'm going to put this foot in front of me? I think you're a very positive person, which I am too. So air 5 right there. So it's like, I feel like people don't look at that as a skill set, but being positive and having a positive mindset is a skill set, right? Like, I feel like you
And
said,
you can learn how to do it.
correct. You could develop.
Yes.
We're not all, I'm not gifted. I mean, I want to be an NBA player. That didn't work out. I'm Mexican, 6 foot, but I worked hard at certain skills, because I tell you what, and I'm hearing you listen, and it's like, I feel like you're a hard ass worker, and you do what you have to do to maybe not be the ultimate best or perfect, because that's always going to be difficult, right? But going to be very damn good at a lot of different things, which I think from your story, the foundation of being authentic, business development, sales, speaking to people, look where you're at today, right? And that's what I want to jump into too, is like, how did being authentic and how did building a network and a foundation, how are you amplifying that and maximizing that now, 2 years later?
Honestly, if it wasn't for the pandemic, I wouldn't have kind of dug inward to figure out how can I have a larger reach online, right? Because my skill set was really building relationships B2B. I'd meet with people, go to happy hour, go to, to events, network, those types of things. And I really didn't have a online presence. I would utilize LinkedIn as direct messaging, kind of introduce myself and try to set up a lunch so we could get to know each other, because I really want people to understand that I'm not a salesperson. I'm here to be someone who can be a solution in your life to make your work life easier, or anything that, at the time, like with restoration, that's a very stressful situation. And I'm here to make that less stressful for you, so you can focus on your tenants and your clients. And I'm focusing on the things that are stressful. So for me, that was always like, I want you to meet me so you can know who I am genuinely, and that I'm here to truly help you. And so when the pandemic, had us all locked down, I thought, okay, well,
you can't talk to anybody in person now.
No. And I didn't know really what to do. So like, my first intuition was to start building an online presence strongly for CPR Construction Cleaning. So I opened an Instagram, and I started a LinkedIn page, and I just felt deep inside that if I was able to capture our team doing, live action where they're on job sites, then not only do you see our cleaners, but you also see the type of work we do. Right.
Nice.
So when we're on the high-rise project, you're going to see that high-rise project, and you're going to see us on there. So it's kind of like, without us having to tell you this is our skill set, you see it. You see us on, multifamily projects. You see us on warehouse space. You see us do floor care and so on and so forth. And you see it where it's not staged. And I've seen a lot of other cleaning companies who do utilize stock photos and
oh my God, it's the worst.
And then they
I get
always,
it, but it's no.
You guys look like models. You know, like you're modeling. Like, I'm perfectly wearing this, iron t-shirt that has the logo, and my hair is perfectly done. And I'm thinking, this doesn't look like a real live cleaning scenario.
That's
and then you see the same faces kind of reoccurring throughout the photos. And I just knew, like, that's not authentic. That is not genuine. And that doesn't translate to my clients that we are so confident in what we do that I'm not able to share who my team is. And so from literally almost day one, I started posting, actual photos of our job sites with our team, and then doing it in a way that isn't very like, oh, click, here's a photo. And you're just like, okay, whatever. Like, here's a building. Thanks so much for showing up. It was really trying to engage that emotional aspect of it. So, instead of us saying, hey, we're the best, it's always, hey, this is why we're doing it. This is, not, and then it leads into what we do and, why we care about floor care, because that's the first thing that everyone sees is the floors, right? Mm-hmm. And what we want for you to experience is that when your client walks in, the first impression is everything. So if your floors look like shit, then you're in trouble. Like, it's just, And so we take that approach of our marketing is from the inside out, right?
Okay.
So it's very emotional, humanizing, and then it shares and features our what we do. And so I started to see like a lot of success when it came to that. And then when I started thinking, okay, well, how am I going to share me as a business owner? How am I going to share myself online so people feel like, when you know a business, when you know an owner, right, it almost makes you feel even more comfortable of saying, okay, yes, I'd like to utilize your business and give you an opportunity. I'm going to give you a chance. And so I thought, I'm like, okay, I have to now kind of go into my space and start talking about it. And I remember I shared a post about being a natural introvert, and that deep down inside, I always wanted to have these extrovert tendencies. And so that's kind of why I got into theater and, doing some modeling and things like that. But really, when I get home, like, I'm not like texting all my friends. Like I get home and I'm home, like I'll watch Friends. It's like I'm with my family. But even when I was a single parent, I didn't really go out and date much. Like I really am an introvert. Like I leave my work at the door and that's it. But, I did a post about that, and it was an actual video post. And, LinkedIn, at least from my experience and from what I've heard from other people, but when I first started that journey it's almost a year and a half ago when I really started getting into it.
Yeah.
To get like 10 to 20 likes on LinkedIn is like,
it's a big deal.
It's a big deal. It is not easy.
Because people are not there to they're there to like really extract information. Yeah.
Yes. And so
that's a good point. Nobody ever talks about that. That's fine.
When you utilize hashtags like you do on Instagram, you can start pulling likes and things like that. And LinkedIn, I feel like Instagram or hashtags for me don't work. I don't believe it.
No, it almost takes up real estate now. It's like, there's no point in doing it.
So I was, I decided I was really nervous, but I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this out there. I'm going to put a little bit of me and how other people can achieve their goals. And I got I think it was close to 1,000 likes. And I was
probably one of those likes. Cause I swear that's how I found you, was a video.
Really?
And I was like,
I was shocked. I was like, okay, all right. Well, I am seeing what people are engaged in wanting to know. And it really got to a point though, where I was sharing between CPR and then my personal stuff, really sharing my story, sharing my why, and things that I've been through personally so that people can essentially feel like they can relate with me. And my content just started to go viral. It just started exploding everywhere. And instead of me sending direct messages saying, hi, I'm Corina, this is what I do. I'd love to be able to see if we could partner together on a project, because at the time we weren't meeting for lunch. Mm-hmm. It was just please give me a chance. Yeah. People were doing that to me. I wasn't even having to do any outbound messaging. Everything from that moment on has been grown organically where I'm receiving the messages saying, hey, I've seen your content. I think you guys are doing amazing work. I want to be able to
support you,
utilize you.
Support and utilize you. I mean, Corina, by doing that, and again, that it worked it's working for people that do it. It's just having to do it, right? It's a job. It takes time. It takes creativity. It takes guts to do that. Put yourself out there. But what you're doing is really just allowing clients to resonate with the brand, which ultimately all this defaults back to CPR for you, right? CPR that's your business, that's your passion. You happen to just be able to share your story, and it just helps people understand, I want to do business with CPR. Like I knew you first before I knew CPR. Then when I looked into it, I was like, oh, wow, construction cleaning, CPR marketing and branding, right? We'll touch on that later, but it's like, but it was you first, right? And that's the important piece here is especially small business owners that feel that they don't have a chance to get those big contracts. They don't feel that they have the chance to grow a business so large. You do if you as the business owner become the leader, right? And if you're the leader, you got to get thick skin. You got to get out of your comfort zone to give your company a chance to compete with these bigger guys.
Yeah, and you have to figure out ways to differentiate yourself, right? Like I could have gone into the space of construction cleaning and just said, hey, I'm offering this service. I'm going to give you great quality, and this is what we're going to do. Instead, I approached it as, we have come into this space because we want to be a problem solution for you and what you're experiencing. We're here to elevate standards of high quality clean from expectations of, people just having to tell their clients. We literally had a client say that they prep their, custom home owners who are spending over $2 million on their home. Just so you know, this quality is not going to be, this white glove look. You're going to probably have to hire someone else to come in and do that detailed look. But that was really the standard. And it's really your approach. So when you're going into any business, and I feel like a foundation of being an entrepreneur should always start like this. And it doesn't matter what you do. You can do crypto, you can do, janitorial, you can do electrical. It doesn't matter. I firmly 100% believe that if your foundation is understanding your core values, why you're doing what you're doing, and really sharing that out, and it's then representing what you do, you're going to have such a solid foundation that you instantly will differentiate yourself compared to your competitors, right? A lot of times people start businesses because, hey, I don't want to work for anybody. I want to do my own thing. I know how to do this. And so I'm going to do it.
Yeah, it's not a good enough why. That's not really a why. Yeah.
And it's not sustainable either, because other people who are going to be innovative, forward thinking, and going outside the box and having a deeper emotional connection with their clients are going to come in and knock you out.
Yep.
So, I firmly 100% believe that if you have this strong foundation of your core values, you're unstoppable. You're going to be able to achieve anything that you want.
Yep. So Corina, I didn't want to forget this question again because we're really driving home construction cleaning. And I'm like I told you before we got on, I'm getting a lot of questions about it. Could you, I don't want you to give away any secret sauce here or anything.
Yeah,
but
no secret sauce.
Yes, no secret. But could you just explain, because I feel like this would actually help the industry raise the bar with standards and qualities. When you approach these contractors, construction superintendents, whoever the decision maker is, I know you talked a little bit about how you differentiate, but do you do this attempt of or approach of phase cleaning? How do you present that? Hey, in the next 5 days, this is what you should expect from CPR. Is there a formula? Is there a process that you do that you see is helping you win these clients over, other than the other factors that we talked about? But as far as process, what makes construction cleaning different than janitorial as the approach to it when you're on site?
So honestly, it's really going to vary between the types of projects, right? So we have projects that are literally just 1 day clean. We have projects that are broken up into multiple days. We have projects that are a week to months. So it really is just going to depend on the type of project and the size of the project. So, if they're coming in and saying, of course, like anyone knows that you have different phases of clean. You have your rough clean, your final clean, and then your touch-up clean. It's really just going to depend. What we really try to do is listen to the needs of what the clients want. So if it's a substantial size project, then you're going to want to, communicate, well, what are your expectations? And when they share their expectations, then we kind of put that together in a formula. Obviously, then you see the pricing and everything, and it's just open communication. It's open dialogue, being able to really listen to them and then say, because a lot of times they're like, in your expertise, what do you think needs to happen so that I can have what my dream is at the end of this, which is, having it perfect and nice.
Pristine.
So, we have some projects where, let's just utilize a 27-story project that we're currently on. And, they want us Monday through Friday, 8 hours a day. They want to do several, 2 phases of a rough clean, a final clean, a touch-up clean.
Got it.
And so, we're always in communication. There is no time where we're not in communication, especially, we go through the end of the week, we touch base, we let people, the project managers and superintendents who are, we're facilitating this with, let them know what struggles we're having, if we're having issues getting water, if there's, any issues with anything at all, if we're not getting any responses, if there's something that we need. So, and then also the other thing is to ensure that, you have a large enough team to commit to what you promise. So if you're not able to commit to a project where you can have 15 cleaners on one project, Monday through Friday for essentially almost a year, then that's going to have to be something that you either look at and say, I can't do this, or I can't do this forever, but maybe at this point, this is not where I am and I need to be able to, because what's going to end up happening is you're going to end up burning your bridge with them. And that's the last thing you want to do. You would rather say, right now, I'm not able to sustain this. And then in the future, when you're ready, then go back to them, and they will find that to be,
they'll respect that. Yeah.
Yes, much more so. So really it's going to depend on, the type of project, right? And let's just say a small little restaurant that has, a deli sandwich place, 1,200 square feet. It's going to be, real simple. You go in, you do a deep clean in the kitchen, and then you clean around the space and things like that. And so the expectations are a final clean, period. Yeah. You go in there and you're done.
Get me ready to open tomorrow, right?
Yes. Yeah. So it's really, the things that I would suggest is remember to have continual communication. And I say this as if it's really that simple, because you have to remember that when you're a business owner and you get busy, communication can be very, very difficult. So you have to keep that at one of your forefronts of saying, this is one of my core values and I'm not going to compromise it.
Don't compromise.
So it's a commitment that you have to make to yourself, because we can all start off saying, oh yeah, I can do that. I'll make sure that I'm communicating with them. And then you're getting pulled left and right. And all these spaces are, you're just like, no, I can't. And then somehow it all falls through the cracks. So
yeah. And it could happen, Corina, so fast. I vividly remember a year ago, I had a fucking busy week, rough, all kinds of shit going on. And I had a potential client tell me, Rick, I texted you and I emailed you, man. And, you didn't get back to me for 3 days. And that vividly sticks to me because I'm so adamant about, quickly communication, turnaround time. And look I dropped my guard for a week, for 1 week, and I got called out on it, and it's it hurts you, because then you have to prove yourself to get back in and never let your guard down. Because as busy as we're always going to be, if we say something, we've got to own up to it every single time, or else, this guy's first impression with my communication was a bad experience. So, and
we're human, right? We make mistakes, but unfortunately people we work with are not always so forgiving. Mm-hmm. So that's the unfortunate thing. And you have to understand that, someone makes a mistake and that's their first time doing it. You're either going to get someone who's understanding and a human being, or you're going to get someone who's no,
just a mean people. There are mean people out there.
And they're not going to give you a chance. So, it's one of those things where you have to be prepared for and understand that yes, you can drop the ball once and it can literally sever the relationship that you have with that person. So communication would be how you could ensure the different phases and how to execute, to your optimum ability.
Another thing I always get, again, let's keep it going with construction cleaning. Corina, how do you deal with the terms of payment? Like construction cleaning, I deal with it. I know net terms and, the waiver liens and all that, but let's think about, a lot of the audience that we have for Cleaning and Cocktails, small business owners, mom and pops, trying to get to the next level and take on bigger contracts. But this construction cleaning has a big price tag. It's a good paying, these are good paying projects, but let's talk about the other side. Like it takes 30, 45, 60 days sometimes to get paid. How did you deal with it, or what's your solution as far as to how to cope with those kind of terms?
That's actually, it's funny that you're asking me this, because if there is any trial and any difficulty in this entire process has been the net payment, and also so essentially we're our own banks. And, we, like I said, and we started our company literally off of $2,500. That's what paid our insurance. And that's what carried us for 2 months until we got paid. It just so happened that our very first job paid us within like 2 or 3 weeks, and kept doing that. Every time we did a different phase, they would pay us. And so, we organically started growing. And as time went on, though, we're having this nest egg that we're putting away, and we're starting to see as we grow, we're having this money in the cloud and it's trickling in, right? But yet we have tons of labor. Like on one job, we can have up to 20 people on a job, and we're doing that 5 days a week. And yet they don't want to pay us until 60 days, a lot of times, and sometimes even out. And, we have these conversations like, hey, we're essentially like being our own banks and facilitating all of this. And you're not our only job. Mm-hmm. Like we are all over, the West Coast. And, we have multiple
jobs. It's a tough conversation, right?
On a daily basis. Yeah. And, we try to help them understand where we're at. And, it's like, we don't want to give people the impression, because it's not true, like we're financially doing great, we're thriving. But at the same time, you can only have money in the cloud for so long, and you need like that big gush of finances that come out, so that, you don't feel that heavy weight of paying your employees, getting all your, your people paid, and everything is moving smoothly. And so I guess my answer to that is, we still actually struggle with it. We hit those walls, and we don't have an investor at this time right now, but I've had this conversation with my business partner, just saying, they really want to make the American dream almost desolate, because unless you have a large lump sum of money that you're able to say, okay, I'm going to put, $300,000 aside so that I can still start, creating this business, or, you've inherited a business, or you buy a franchise, or what's another case scenario, right? Like you have to be in business for 3 years before the bank looks at you, even though you're thriving and successful and bringing in a ton of money. They're like, no, you're not 3 years in business, so we can't give you a loan. You're talking my language here, Corina.
Maybe me, you, and your partner should come up with a solution for. I actually have ideas for it too, but like you're hitting the nail in the coffin with your first 3 years are the toughest, because banks aren't there for you. They're not even.
And you have to figure out how to put those pegs in those holes so that you stay afloat, because you're like, I have this amazing, thriving business that's growing, and yet this is the things that are hurting me.
You could grow and scale your business so much more if you didn't have to worry about the funding part. Again, we're not saying, give a a charity here, or just, give money away to small business owners so they can grow. No, if they have a plan and they're showing in those first 2 years growth, then
yes.
there should be stipulations to allow small business owners to have access. They talk about line of credit, but it's like you can't get the line of credit until you show 2-3 years. But what do you do in the first 2-3 years? It's like, it's very frustrating.
It's really just like figuring out how to plug these holes temporarily so that you can extend and expand. And, we actually recently turned down, it was over $1 million worth of work in Florida because the cash flow just wasn't going to
that's terrible.
It.
That is like,
and it was devastating. We were so sad. We were just like, oh my gosh, like we have this capability, we have this opportunity, and yet we know that we just can't do it today because of the cash flow, not because of our ability. We would be able to have, the crew there, like we would have everything in alignment. And if we had someone who, if we had a bank and we said, hey, we have this opportunity and we're going to have this money, and here's this growth. And, our first year in business, we did $1 million. Second year in business, we're $2 to $5 million. And yet a bank still looks at us and says, well, you're not 3 years in business. So
oh my God, that's like my anti-bank. Like I feel like, I don't want to have banks come after me here, but I would have an anti-bank.
Banks we love you, but we hate you right now.
I have Rosa Lotto, Corina, right? And then I'm building this company, Rosa Contractors, at the same time. I have Route, I have all these companies, but I have this Rosa Contracting business that I'm in year 2, going into year 3. And I'm like, look at everything else I've done. Like, you don't take that into it almost turns into a beg or plea of me when I'm at the banks and they're like, Rick, we get you. I hear you. You just pleaded to us for 30 minutes, but it's just not in our underwriting guidelines and this and that. And I'm like, like for your example, I bet a $20 or $30 million company got that $1 million contract. Did they need it? You could have done much more with it than they did, right? Like, and that's, it doesn't allow you to level up. It's crazy.
It is crazy. And for us, we've decided that, we want to be able to scale our company, not quicker. We want to scale the company as we're getting these opportunities, which are frequently coming in. And, for us, we feel like maybe having, an angel investor or doing seed funding or something like that may be the answer for us personally. It's, something that we've been talking about and considering, especially because we want to create a franchise for our business in the future. Because we have so many people asking, how can they ask me if we have franchises, and they ask how they can be a part of CPR. And so we have all of these like goals and these things that we believe and know that will be successful just because we have people from Canada, from Australia, the UK,
well, let's have a
Dubai. We have people from Dubai who want to partner with us, and it's like there's these opportunities. And if we just had that right cash flow, this concept could be could really catapult where we are today. But that's not for everyone, so I wouldn't say that's the recommendation that I would take. I'm just me and my business partner, we're really highly ambitious, and we're not obviously, like, I'm not scared to take a risk at things. That's why, like, I've experienced a couple situations that really didn't work out for me, but it takes risk for you to make big things. And so for us, we're not scared. We're ready to do it. We want to be able to see how far we can scale this in a substantial short amount of time. We've been able to organically grow our business to this point in less than 2 years. So I'm like, man, I can only imagine if we had that, cash flow coming in, like, where would we be and where can we be? And of course I'm like, oh, I know where we'll be. So
we'll have a sidebar conversation on that, just because I know a lot about angel investors and seed funding and raising capital. So crowdfunding, I think crowdfunding would be pretty cool for you too. So we could talk about that. But I wanted to, I don't want to take much more of your time, but I always love to end the show with you said you've been 2 years in, Corina. You're kind of touching on where you want to go in the future, but where do you want to go? Like where does CPR go? Where does Corina go in the industry? As far as, what's the outlook? What's a 5-year look for Corina right now?
Honestly, I would say that if all things align, not
when,
if, when all things
align.
When. We will definitely be a nationwide company. My goal is to become an international company as well. And through this journey, I realized, though, that this really is the vehicle for myself and my business partner. But, my passions are to be able to be a problem solution in the industry. So I want to bring even more awareness of environmental issues that come from construction and their waste that, a majority of construction companies, unless you're a large company like Turner or Whiting Turner, or like Belfour, like these large companies, right? That usually are, Ryan companies, they're forward moving businesses that think about, their waste and things like that. But you think of all the hundreds of other GCs who are not thinking about it, or that for them, they feel it's too costly to be able to put focus on the environmental aspect of it and how to dispose and getting rid of, your waste in a proper way of recycling, and also ensuring that your subs are not just tossing their stuff in a yard somewhere, or, just getting rid of it instead of going through it perfectly. So, we want to bring awareness to that. And also I want to be able to, I love working in a male dominated industry. Cause my business partner is a man. It's not like I'm not like women only, women are the best. But I feel like, it's just where we have to kind of get to this realization that 9% is only women in construction and 1% is out in the field. And so, the construction industry is really lacking, and they're really not serving themselves from not really putting more of an effort out there and bringing more women into the construction field. And, I have a lot of women who reach out to me and say, I'm scared to go in the construction industry. Can you give me some advice? And I feel like sad in my heart that they would even feel any ounce of fear going into an industry that has so much opportunity and so much growth and so much potential. And so I feel like, construction cleaning is a vehicle, just like any business. You have the opportunity to have a large presence, utilize it to have a voice, to help issues that are in your industry. And so, in 5 years from now, I really want to catapult environmental issues and bringing more women into the industry while also growing my business internationally.
Awesome.
So kind of like a long answer.
Soundbite right there. That's what that was. No, that was good stuff. Corina, that was good. No, that's a great way to end. Just because that kind of speaks even more so on, on what's your mission, right? What are you trying to do for the space? And I love that you touched on something that I've been talking about more and more now is the cleaning industry has opened the doors for me, which is doing the same for you and many others that I talk to. It's a gateway. It opens the doors to many more opportunities because it's a platform. It's a vehicle. You just said it. It doesn't stop there. There's so many more things we can do because again, business ownership is business ownership. Entrepreneurial is entrepreneurial. We just happen to be in the cleaning space doing it. Right. So now let's use this to be a voice, to amplify our voices. Loved it. Thank you so much. Everybody, if you don't mind, Corina, we're going to put your LinkedIn, any kind of social media that you have in the description. Because, as you know, I'm not sure if you know, but we put the podcast on a YouTube channel so everybody can watch the video. But then it's also as an audio and, on all the audio platforms, people can listen in as well.
I love it.
But you guys, I'm sure if everybody could applause or clap. Thank you, Corina. That was awesome. Your journey's awesome. Your story is awesome. Looking forward to staying in touch and seeing what you keep doing in the space.
Likewise. Absolutely. Thank you. I
Awesome.
appreciate you. It was a great conversation.
Thank you.
So thank you.
All right, guys. The end.
The end.